I mean, I want to talk about you as the artist, but before we do that, I really want to kind of go back to Beyonce and your song "Scared of Lonely." That song is freaking amazing. Tell me the story behind it. Was it specifically written for Beyonce?
Actually, well, it was me, LaShawn Daniels, and Rico Love. What a team we were. We were in the studio with Rodney for about a week and a half, and we did about maybe 5 or 6 records the first week, and then we got back in later on in New York and did some more records, about 5 or 6 records. So we were just kind of like this tag team thing for a while, and we really didn't have a blueprint of who we were writing for. We just wanted to do great records. I remember us saying, we would start a session off by saying, okay, let's do a record for so-and-so, and by the time we start the song, we don't know who it's for. It's still good, and we're just trying to make sure it comes out amazing. And when they first hit me with an email and said that Beyonce loved it, my career could have ended at that moment. I would have been happy. I was like, wow, Beyonce loves something that I was part of. It was so humbling to know that she really, really loved it. And that was actually, from what I'm told, it was the first song she recorded for the album.
Wow.
I believe they said she came off vacation and recorded it. And I was normally with an artist, the first song that they record, it gets kind of lost in the mix after they record so many songs for an album, and that's normally the song that doesn't make it. But I was so happy when it stayed on the album, and I got a chance to watch her performance of it, and it's even better live. I mean,
I was just going to ask. I'm sure you've seen her perform it live. How does that, as a songwriter, to see an artist of Beyonce's caliber perform your song?
It's unbelievable. It's very overwhelming, because once I'm in the studio and I write something, when I leave there, I go back to being normal, and I don't understand how I wrote it. You know what I mean? Like when I'm in the moment, it's definitely a gift from God, because I feel like I'm out of control. I'm not really in control of what I'm writing and what I'm saying. It's just coming to me, and it's like pouring into me so fast I can barely keep up with, keep my hands up as far as writing the lyrics down. So when I'm sitting there and Beyonce's performing it, it's back to that whole, I can't believe that I was a part of that thing,
Mhm. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is because you really give great advice and great stories about, how you came into this. How did this all begin for you?
Goodness. Well, I will say, it actually, it feels like it begins every time I hit the studio. So it's hard for me to pinpoint a certain moment, but because I'm constantly growing, and I'm nowhere near where I'm going to be a year from now or 2 years from now. So every time I do something, it's a start for me, But if I can try and pinpoint it, I would say that I started out singing. I'm a singer first. I've been singing since 3 years old, I guess. And I was in a lot of different singing groups, and it just didn't work out. So I actually started writing, to kind of get some anger management things off my chest about the groups that I was in. It was funny because all my songs in the early part of my songwriting were really angry. Like every song, I was fighting somebody, I was slapping somebody, I was mad. So that's how it started. Just me just expressing myself, and then it grew into me just being interested in like the process. I never used to read the credits. I never wondered what I was singing. I just sang it. And I just grew into caring about that side, and then I went back and listened to all my favorite songs that I would sing, and I listened to the lyrics of them, all my Stevie Wonder songs that I love, and Temptations and Jodeci and Boyz II Men, all that stuff, and I started just researching the art of songwriting, and I ran into my manager. I was working with different producers all the time. I was blessed to meet my manager, and I think that maybe was 2005 or 6, because it hasn't been very long that I've been doing this. I met him, and we just got on the grind. Like any studio that would let me in the door, I was in there. I mean, whatever they wanted me to write, if I had to, I would have to write to the same track like 6 different songs, in one night. Just, someone say, well, no, that ain't it, and I just go in again. I gotta knock that melody out of my head and come up with another one, another concept. And I appreciate all that stuff now because it just kind of gave me a strength and a ability to, just keep going throughout whatever I'm going through.
What was your first placement? And for the audience, newcomers, explain to them what a placement would be.
Okay, a placement is basically when a songwriter or producer, when we write or produce a record, in my case, if I write a song and a major artist or just an artist of any caliber, a signed artist or independent, whomever, picks the song up and wants it for their project, and they basically purchase the song. That's considered a placement. And it's very hard to get those. Very, very hard. So my first one, it felt like going through Sodom and Gomorrah. It was like forever trying to get that first one. And my official first one, the album never came out. But officially my first placement was on Brooke Valentine. And it was a song that I wrote called Come Out My Heels. It had something to do with fighting.
Fighting her in your songwriting.
Yeah, I told you I was angry very early on. But that was my first official placement, but it never came out. So the first release I had was on Jennifer Lopez, and it was called Gotta Be There. Yeah, and it was actually a tie between that one and the song that I did on Keke Palmer called Hood Anthem. So they kind of came out at the same time, so it's a double first placement kind of.
I mean, you've had although short career, but what has been the one thing in your career so far that has stood out?
The one thing that stood out. Wow, you're good. That's a good question.
Look, I tried.
Right. The one thing that stood out of my career so far, I would have to say more recently being signed as an artist. I just recently signed.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I signed an artist deal to Blackground Interscope. And that has to stick out for me because I've been singing forever. And I fell in love. I didn't know I could songwrite, and I fell in love with it. But to be able to be acknowledged as a singer is incredible because that's my first love, So that definitely sticks out.
So, I mean, because, I've been asking you about a solo record, I don't know for how long.
Yeah, you have.
And I was like, when are you going to do a solo record? And there's a reason why, because people don't realize not only are you a great songwriter, you're a really talented singer.
Thank you.
And I know the audience, I know you're a vocal rest, but could you sing us a little something, just a little something?
Ooh, look at you. Oh, goodness.
Anything you want.
Oh, man, I have no idea how this is going to sound because let me just tell you about the day I've had. I went to the doctor today, and I had to have, a tube stuck down my nose to look in my throat.
Oh.
It was the worst feeling in the world. It felt like somebody was, ticking in my brain. So I will give you a piece of something, but I can't be held accountable for what comes out. Goodness. I guess I'll do maybe the hook of your favorite.
Okay. That's good.
I made the greatest discovery of mankind. You defined the existence of love, and I found it in you. Searched my whole life through. So rare but so true. The definition of love is you. And that's about all I got in me.
Oh. Well, we appreciate you doing that, just that for us, Cristyle.